John McGrath on Zoom. You do. Awesome.
I was having some video issues, but can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. That's probably good enough.
Okay. All right.
All right, so welcome. I call the Wednesday, July 10th meeting of the Transportation Safety Committee to order. It is 7:04. I first have a statement to make as a result from our general counsel for all open meetings. Welcome to the July 10th meeting of the Transportation Safety Committee. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast to the town's YouTube channel and also on via Zoom and is being recorded for publication, later viewing, and administrative purposes. As of today, no attendees, because we have no attendees, have notified me in advance of their intent to record the meeting. So there was no need to notify. I would need to notify if someone said, I want to record the meeting and wanted to sit in the back and record it on their iPhone. I would need to make that notification. So there's a new, all the committees are going to go through this, so.
May someone record it on their iPhone, or maybe we say, no, you may not?
They may, their only requirement is they need to notify the chair ahead of time. It is their right, according to open meeting law, that they can record the meetings, any way, and then we have an obligation to say that we're also recording it for Zoom and for archival purposes for our YouTube channel, et cetera. But yes, so it is their right, but they can't just do it without asking the chair's permission.
Okay.
Or not even permission, they have to notify the chair of their intent. So
Okay.
with that being said, so we're gonna do roll call. Justin McCullen is here. Rebecca Tarantino.
Here.
Donna Mullen is absent. Barry McNeely. Here. Gus Jerson. Present. Tyler Gorowski. Present. Tom Ryder. Here. Lieutenant John McGrath.
Here.
And also just a note the record that Robert Wilson is here as our technical advisor, and he is present and accountable. So the next item on the agenda was to approve the minutes from June 12th. They were sent out with the agenda packets. Any additions, subtractions, notices, edits, etc. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June 12th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So moved by Rebecca Tarantino. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Barry. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, we come to a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from June 12th as is, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Oh, yeah, aye, yes, from John McGrath, aye as well, recorded. Any abstentions or abstention from Gus
No present.
for being not present. Thank you. All right. Old business status report. So, Mr. Wilson.
Okay,
The
okay,
floor
okay,
is yours.
okay, a couple things. First of all, as many of you may know, it looks like the Dedham Avenue crosswalks and narrowing is proceeding swimmingly right now.
Swimmingly.
Well, it's what we're doing, we're in this. That's the
So it
whole,
started, the work started?
there's signs up and they've got some curving in, at least under the bridge, it's narrowing down a little
Have you
bit.
gotten hate now yet?
Yeah. Some detours. I think the police had some complaints on detours, et cetera.
Well, it's the-
That was what, Webster too. Okay. Recent. Oh, there were other.
Okay, following up, and Tyler can speak to this a little bit too. On Brookside Road, we did a little bit of investigation of the signage, see if they were obscured by trees or whether they were too close to each other or inappropriate or. And I think Tyler has a slide on this, I think. And I think there may be some signs that are moved.
So this is that, it's in our agenda packet?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I would do something myself. Oh, it's got the color version.
So that I can share it. There was overgrowth that was obscuring at least one of the signs. So that's something that we can take care of along with that.
Yeah, the third and signage. Yeah. So while we're getting that, there is a Facebook group called There's No Way That's MUTCD Approved. And it's basically geeks like me that, you know, we post up about various signage throughout the country. That, you know, certainly is flagrantly outside of, and two of these I posted on that side. So, on that website to various.
Which ones?
The slow way down, right?
Yeah.
And the Go Children, the red, Go Children slow, or the Go Slow.
Watch children go.
But no,
slow.
the slow
Yeah.
way down was. That was a,
That was a
there were a
good,
lot of people that.
That was favored, yeah. Yeah. But so, are we removing the signs and cutting back the brush?
I mean, I think this is up for discussion, Tyler. I mean, did you wanna, or is it?
well, I would say, but it's my. I'm not here
We know
anymore.
who you are.
Bob Wilson speaking. I would like probably to eliminate probably each slow sign. I think. And as far as the road narrows and the winding road sign to the top of the page, I think it's a hard call. If we move the road narrows back toward the top more and the curving sign a little bit down, I think that would be my take on the location of those.
Okay.
And then, of course, the eliminate the red sign.
I,
Those three eliminations and then a little shifting with the others.
as a driver, I do like the road narrows with the 20 mph.
Yeah, we're keeping.
Yeah, that one would keep, it's,
Okay,
yeah, we need to work on
and
the
sometimes I
front.
like the explanation, like if it's like a curve or when you have a low speed limit, I like that there's a reason why.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, I just came back from Yosemite and if you're not familiar with the General's Highway, it's a very curvy switchbacks, et cetera. And it was good to I drove it on 3 days. And they have the advisory speeds and you know, when the advisory speed is 10 miles an hour, you slow it way down. That's gonna be.
It's serious,
It's,
yeah.
it's almost it's a switchback U-turn,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
20 miles an hour versus 25 miles an hour. You kind of know how fast because the speed limit is like 30. You know,
Yeah.
the regulars work. So those do work to indicate, you know, to a driver that there is. there's a
Road
reason you need
hazards
to slow
going
down,
on,
you
yeah.
know, and I know we don't switch backs here, but.
That would,
So I agree with Bob that the road narrows, I think we should switch the location, move the road narrows up to the top and then move the curve closer to the actual curve. They're way too close together right now. I went out there and took these pictures. The three signs at the top of the screen are, you can stand in front of that one person's yard and see all three of them in front of you. It's just not gonna be effective with that spacing. The red sign, yeah, I mean, it's not a regulation, it's probably not really doing too much to begin with. It's almost kind of hard to see it. I had to drive past it twice to fully locate it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye, had to turn around. I think that the road narrows towards the bottom of the screen, by Volante Farms going north. Might actually be a little bit more effective, a little bit. Kind of where the existing slow sign is. just because the actual foliage and everything doesn't really start happening, like, until a little, like, further up the road, but I'm kind of ambivalent as to the slow signs, like, I know that they're not really warning of anything in particular, but having too many is probably not a good move, but I think spacing them out, just general, all the signs generally.
Would you consider for the drivers going north and for lack of orientation, I'm just gonna say going up, because I really don't know what direction this is. So for drivers that are driving up the map, having a contour sign where pretty much where the blind driveway is, somewhere up around there, because you're also gonna have the same, the road is gonna be the same. You are gonna have two curves.
Yeah, so I think we actually, it makes a lot of sense to kind of have both ends mirror each other.
Yeah.
The blind driveways, I think is pretty much fine. Because that is the area where people are gonna be pulling out, where you're not, it's the most obscure, the most narrow.
Yep.
But yeah, I think having,
To replace a slow sign with the winding
right,
arrow sign.
right,
And you could even have that move forward, you know what I mean? As opposed to move back, move up.
Can I ask you a question though? So with all blind driveways, to me, seems very arbitrary. Usually it's one driveway. So why not have the windy sign where the blind driveway sign is? So it's just, you have to just slow.
Different direction.
So this one is in this way, going this way.
Yes.
But to me, this one, every time I drive up Brookside, I think this one's hilarious, because like multiple, how does a sign indicating multiple help anybody? Other than the point is, you just have to be aware of everything, right? You have to be aware of cars, you have to be aware of children. They're saying, slow the hell down, because this is, you're driving too fast and there's everything going on here, so I'm not sure. Like, are those the most useful signs, I guess is my question, since it's not alerting to one blind driveway or.
there's a lot of driveways in close proximity. I think with the winding thing, it does have to be in advance of the curve. Like, enough so that the person has enough time to slow down as they go into the curve.
It's almost where the old sign is right now, except facing the direction, the opposite direction.
Which one?
Of where you have the red
that.
sign, almost having the directional curve sign there. It might even benefit to have the directional sign curve and 20 advisory tab underneath it.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I think we can remove the slows and then put the tabs on that added curve.
Mhm.
That would be more effective than the slows on their own. The red sign we can take out, but I kind of like having something in the middle that indicates that there could be traffic coming from either side and.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with blind driveways and that. You know, that, because it is true, there are a number of houses that are discharging in the blind spot. So I would support that. I don't. Even though it may not actually do anything, but you know, there might be someone that will slow down a little bit more, but I think that replacing that red sign, turning it around with a directional, for lack of better, I forget the terminology of that sign, but the profile sign.
So rather than at the,
Well, wherever, I mean, not to say that it's a replacement of one, unless it's a pole there. Just think this is cheaper, you already have a pole in the ground, but I don't know what the. I don't know what the distance is required for a warning for, you know, where you have to do, but it's a reuse of a pole. Number one, you just slap the sign on the other side, and have. This one with a 20-mile-an-hour tab, still have blind driveways there, that's fine. Remove the slow, and then the road narrows at each end.
seems to be just a sequence of the curve and then the road narrows. I'm almost wonder, well, let's say we agreed with the slow roads. Let's go in south, to the south, right? But wouldn't you rather see first the narrows get indicated and then it also, I mean, you need that distance to that curve, which is that curve, which is that first curve sign. I don't know if you use the post, slow sign. And move that
Road narrows.
road narrows, because you have the post and it also creates at the same time, you get some more distance. One other question on the blind driveways, is it only on the east side that issue exists? The blind driveways?
No, but,
Brookside is everywhere. That's sort of my point, is
It's like children here, you know?
that's what I said. You have children everywhere, you have walkers everywhere, but walkers wearing bare feet everywhere, you have. Blind driveways everywhere. I just don't think one side in the middle of the road, one sign in the middle of the road is an effective.
yeah, so basically from this point up until this curve, that is the tightest area.
Which is the majority of the street.
Yeah, I think that there needs to be something in the middle. And it has to, based on MUTCD, it has to refer to a specific hazard
Yeah, sure.
that is present.
You have to, yeah, slow doesn't do it. You have to
Yeah.
have, what's the hazard? What's, as you said,
But I think if we are agreeing on anything, it's that road narrow should come before the curve.
yes. Sure. Now, would it all not make sense then if you have that curve sign in one direction? Don't we need that in the other direction as well, or is that not prominent? Is that not an issue? Yeah, we only have only the curve.
I would be in favor.
Yeah.
Because it also identifies there is something going on. You know, there's a curve, there's a hazard, and maybe you can tag. And repeat,
Hey.
repeat.
Yes.
Go
And
ahead.
John,
It's-
do you-
Yeah, I just had I think I've seen these signs. I don't know if they're legal or not, but is there something about like pedestrians in roadway? Or am I creating that in my head? Like basically saying like, hey, there's walkers, like it's not, it's sort of residential, like something different that might pique somebody's like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny, my first reaction to that was that shouldn't be, but the reality is there's no sidewalk, so that's very real, and the biggest hazard, right?
Oh, right,
Right,
yeah,
so it's,
Yeah, there's we have a sign on South Street that was put in as, I believe from a T-Mac request.
Chestnut Street.
no, South Street near the Dedham Avenue.
I was referring to that, the one that says watch for pedestrians.
Oh, I was talking about just the symbol that we had for
But then they-
pedestrian walking.
Yeah. But the same one that we just put in recently, but by Emerson.
Yeah.
That's like the most basic of.
Mm.
You know,
And I
pedestrian activity around us.
I prefer that to the visual signs. Because what I've learned is, a lot of adults, kids who are taking the permit test, they know what the signs mean. A lot of adults don't actually know what it means. Does it mean crosswalk? Does it mean it's a pedestrian? I think we've all, yeah,
The icons.
yes, but it's just an icon on a sign and you haven't had to study it in years. Distinguishing between one sign and the other is, it's the school zone, pedestrian, all of those, they're super similar.
Yeah, we kind of don't love the general pedestrian warning, but I don't think there's something better.
do you think the curves meet the standard of Chevron?
That one at the top of the screen, I
Yeah.
believe,
Cause that's also something that is indicating that, slow down a little bit, you know what I mean, just having, two chevron arrows. Depending upon the curve.
Yeah, I would like to see the,
'Cause I think we don't use that enough in this town, I get that.
we just ordered some that we're
Oh,
gonna
did
put
you? Oh, yes.
on South Street, actually.
I like the sign that says no traffic signs. There is one, it's a W 18-1, it says no traffic signs, it's a yellow placard. John, I'm looking to see if I can see something pedestrian.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I'm sure that it's some illegal sign I saw somewhere, or I dreamt it.
Yeah, so this is the actual view when you're
Going down or,
going south.
okay,
And this is like the actual curve that we were seeing at towards the top of the screen. This is the offending pole.
yes,
You can see that the street is relatively straight. Back here is where there's the 3 signs in a row.
yeah,
The only issue with the chevrons is kind of the visibility, so you might put like the placement a little tricky because
yeah,
there's like a driveway here and then it gets shaded yet. But it kind of continues going this way,
it does,
so maybe
you could do like one,
like over here,
Yeah.
over this direction.
One thing that comes to mind is that neighbors will complain and something negative, but neighbors will complain, this is not a highway, it's residential street.
Yeah, I don't know, there's no like obvious like sort of wooded embankment where we could put the chevrons.
Okay.
And I hear what you're saying, Justin, but
no, I'm just trying to suggest something instead of, we're trying to figure out something in the middle there, and that's fine, it doesn't at this point.
so does everybody have a feeling about putting that reverse curve for the continuous curve? Let's call it in the northbound direction and
Yeah.
maybe on that pole, the old sign, well, you have to have it advanced, so. Has to be before the curve, so almost it needs to be by the blind drive.
Where you could actually replace the blind, is that on a pole or is that on a sign, like an actual utility pole or a sign?
Blind driveways.
Yeah. Looks like a
That's- That's on a utility pole.
Well, that's easy to slap on, and it's gonna be on the right hand side there. Oh yeah, they're both on there,
Because that's actually, someone was saying earlier, that's a reminder of this alignment coming up. And that you should slow down, and it is a reminder from the road narrows at the bottom.
I mean, if you wanted to replace the red sign with blind driveways, that's, you just move that up and replace that red sign with the blind driveway. Replace blind driveway with the road profile curve sign with a 20-mile-an-hour advisory tab. That would handle that direction, and then going south, I agree, remove the slow. Just do the directional, the profile directional thing with a 25 advisory and then road narrows.
So 3 total curvy signs. Is that what you're saying?
Ooh, I thought, well,
So not one down, not one down. So we're saying.
yeah, maybe,
We're saying that one here.
yes. Oh, I guess 3, yeah,
Switch this,
yeah, I guess right here is also. Without doing a site visit, you were there today.
or only one, or just one. For the road narrows one.
Yes.
I mean, I would probably look at the expertise of the engineering and, sign.
I think
I kinda want-
I think I'm okay with that if you have the other one up further.
Yeah, I kind
The
of
road
want,
narrows
I
one.
wanna take this and put it on the pole where the slow is.
Yeah.
To move it a little closer to the narrowing and
Yep.
then
And then
do
where
it.
the review the things in the that he said, flip the blind driveway, put the profile, the S curve.
Yeah.
On where the existing blind driveway is,
Yes.
and then eliminate the flow at the top, maybe.
Yep.
Flip,
And then put the road narrows in front of the
yeah,
curve.
And I think by putting on the curvy, putting the speed tabs on
but
there.
then taps.
I think that's no, that's always a good, no matter what, always kind of putting that into the forefront. John, did you have any comment? I just want to,
What to do with that red sign? So-
No. It all sounds like signs moving around.
yeah.
That's good.
I don't see your hand on the Zoom and I'll just want to make sure you have any questions. Just chime in if you do.
Instead of facing that way, facing.
Yeah.
We can entertain a motion.
Do I have to repeat everything or should I?
No, I think we can say, I think we can entertain a motion to reconfigure the signs as discussed in TMAC. Yeah,
Second.
okay, so I make the motion to reconfigure the signs on Brookside as discussed in TMAC, and is seconded by Gus.
Just a point of clarification.
Yep.
So when you said the 20-mile-an-hour tabs. So at the top of the screen, there would be a road narrows with a 20 and a curve with a 20. But we'd just be switching their positions and maybe spacing them out a little more.
I'm less, because I don't wanna overstate the 20. So wherever you think is more effective, whether it's on the road narrows or whether it's on the curvature. On that direction, but the other ones you put up, so. I like it on the curvature, because the curvature, I think that's kind of a standard we should go with.
It would be different, but
Yeah, you're right.
Unless you did it on the, where the slow is gonna be replaced by the curvy, and then you can put the 20-mile-an-hour on that down.
Maybe just to keep it.
Whatever,
consistent.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, as long as it's the same.
I think we'll.
Yes.
Just keep the consistency.
because keep the consistency and, the motion is that, using, as discussed and using the expertise of the town's engineering and highway department to reconfigure the signs, to make the road safer. Yes, that seconded. Any discussion on the matter? No discussion, calling to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm recognizing that. Any abstentions? Any noes? And the motion passes. So,
Okay,
yes.
a couple things real quick, and this is kind of involving Mr. Ryder next to me here. I have prepared a formal Hillside at West regulation for the selectmen to sign. And for George Agate at Denham Avenue. And what was it? The third one? I can't.
What was it, George Agate?
George Haggett and Dana.
What was it, George Agate? Stop sign.
It's the RFB and
Where the
Got
RFP
it,
is,
got
yeah,
it.
right, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
wait, sorry, where's George Haggett? I forgot it.
That's the one right across from the bottom.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What was the third?
it's a Kearney.
Oh, Kearney at Gould, the stop sign for that, we've, fine, yeah,
Got
that's,
it. Cool.
So July 23rd is the.
is it,
is the
that's it.
schedule.
that's it. Secondly, I think Tom has talked, you have talked to the people at the Wellesley
Wellesley.
BW regarding the
Mhm.
Ardmore, Honeywell trail crossing.
Yep.
Sorry, can I just ask, before we go there, can we just go back just for 1 second to West and Hillside?
Yes,
So that proposal is, that's to put in
full way.
four-way stop.
Yep.
And so all that needs to happen is that they just need to sign it and then we can implement it. What's the path?
Yes.
Okay,
There will be advanced signage and other
Yeah.
stuff with it, but
Okay.
let's get it
Because
signed.
it's
Yeah.
a regulatory change, they have to sign off on it.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
they
And
can
it's gonna go in
Great.
public notice. in
Right.
paper,
Yeah, perfect.
Or, I'm not sure what we publish now,
I think it's the same. I think.
hometown.
Hometown.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
and
reads.
everyone will, right, but I think if this is one act, I mean, there's no reason not to support it, yeah.
Yeah.
And is it possible, have we talked about making all of them flashing, or are they only the one coming to the senior center is flashing?
The existing stop signs flashing.
Yes.
There
I think-
is
I think on
On
Hillside.
Hillside coming from the
Yeah.
senior center for sure.
I don't see why not. The new
We
ones,
should, yeah. I
It's
have
like
them all
any that
because it's brand new, so.
Not only because it's new, but it's such a, given the audience there and the visibility
I
issues
think-
there, I would think that would be smart.
Even new tabs.
Yeah.
Underneath, you know what I mean, underneath, just yellow. new
we have to
tab.
do everything we can
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
make it visual.
Yeah.
That's what
I
it
don't have a
is.
problem with that. I mean, there's no, tree coverage that would prevent the solar.
And even, you know, I mean, if you take a look at it, even coming up west, new traffic configuration, you know, or wherever you know.
No, but I was talking about actually the flashing, making
Yeah.
the stop sign flash.
Yeah, but
Sure.
with the approach and,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and we are also, it's on our tip to look at that design as well, as part of the corridor from Webster Street
Got
to Bay.
Okay.
And that piece, on West Street.
Okay, and then we'll have to take a look. I know we said we would monitor, we have to take a look, because if the quiet zone gets implemented, there's channelization that might have impacts. As well, that, you know, we might have to take a look and see what we can do, but obviously.
One little step at a time.
No, I know, but
Design
that's,
it.
you know,
Yeah,
that's, I know
that
we do
makes
this.
it complex, but we know that.
Yeah, so it says we can use a new traffic pattern ahead sign.
Yeah, okay.
For the first like 6 months.
That's
Perfect.
glorious.
All right, excellent. Did you have anything else?
Okay, now this thing, I have it, but I wasn't sure if you want to bring it up, Justin, or I should. It's the 25 mph speed streets or the whole town wide.
Wait, sorry, I interrupted you when you were talking about Wellesley.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Wells
We didn't
Street,
answer Wellesley.
Wellesley,
Sorry, yes.
So we haven't formalized a day to visit, so I'm trying to get, Justin, Tyler, myself to, meet with Dave Hickey and George Saraceno. So George, I spoke to him earlier and he's welcome to the idea. And so I sent him an email, request, and I haven't heard back yet. I sent him a notice to think about, any potential grant money that we could combine to work together on, because it's right on the town line. Perhaps that will give us priority if the two towns are working together.
Mhm.
So his initial response to me is that they have like a committee very similar to ours. I went on the website, I can, they have a DPW advisory committee, but I'm not sure the traffic safety committee. So,
I didn't see that either when I went.
yeah, so I wonder if that's what he meant, so. So anyways, I sent him the email, so he's gonna, he said, once I send the email, he'll put me on the agenda, but I kind of want to meet with him first, you know, before I go.
Yeah.
So,
So we have something prepared.
yeah,
Excellent.
so,
It is a good opportunity to. The state, if we go for anything from the state, they like cross-border stuff,
Mhm.
because it's kind of like a connectivity, safety.
It's probably just easier for them too.
Might be worth even having an informal conversation with Jackie Wolf too as well. She might be able to kind of point to.
Yeah, she could probably recommend certain, you know, we were looking at, we do have another opportunity for that bottleneck grant, but I don't know if they're gonna consider it to be eligible for that programs, but there might be another sort of smaller program that
Mhm.
might be useful.
Okay. Well, that's great news. And then, yeah, I think because it is old business, but there were some action items from before, to kind of report back to. We could discuss that now since it's not on the, agenda, but it is under old business, to discuss continue the conversation we had regarding the 30 mph to possibly bring down to 25 mph. There was some, we asked John to do some research and then, you guys to kind of talk to towns, et cetera. Is there any information on that?
I have something, but I can. Lieutenant, do you have any information?
So on that enforcement portion, sorry, yeah, no, unfortunately with the 3rd of July and kind of the summer months, I didn't get anybody really to give me any info on that. So might have to give me till August, maybe September, but I'll keep working on it.
Okay. Anything from the DPW side or highway or engineering side?
Yeah, so one thing I just want to mention, there was some questions about sort of like the efficacy of putting them up. Is it really going to do anything? which kind of, intuitively, yeah, I'm not sure, but, according to studies that were done on the Boston implementation, and I realize it's a different context, but according to to that study, it showed a statistically significant reduction in mean speeds. And a reduction of 3%, 8.5%, and 29% in the odds of vehicles exceeding 25, 30, and 35 respectively. So there was some evidence that suggested it had a effect when Boston implemented the townwide change. Talking to other, so I think the sort of outstanding questions really do come down to enforcement. When I talk to other communities, it was basically when the change went into shortly before and during when the change went into effect, they kind of had a public information campaign as to this is a change that's going to affect all of us. Push it out through town channels, sort of have a, it would be both at the sort of town hall level, but also for DPW, put it on our communications, our website, push it out through social media, that kind of thing. Because there is that public education, period. For something like that, it's something that we probably have to reinforce for like the first year. But generally, I think that what I was hearing was that the less confusing, the better. Because because it's kind of a little bit of a confusing carve out in MGL, So the more you kind of talk about it applies in these situations in these areas, the more confusing it'll be, and the less people will adhere to the new regulation. So
you're saying townwide rather than street is your recommendation?
that is my recommendation. I think that we open ourselves up to a lot of continuous discussion about why isn't my street on the list? Whose street's on the list? And I think that we'll be litigating it for the rest of our lives.
Can we?
I think the consensus of DPW too, I mean, we spoke with the director and the assistant director and other people in the office, and I think that's the consensus too, rather than going.
And that's great, Rebecca.
No, I was gonna say, I think we also know that that's how most towns have implemented it, which is great, but I think we need more data. So I don't think Boston is relevant to us. I think we need more data from the towns that have done it, when they implemented, when they made the decision, how long it took them to launch it, and then their data about reductions in speeds.
I think Dedham is probably a.
Yeah, Dedham also, I think it's better than Boston.
Yep, sure.
I don't remember where Wellesley was on the list. Were they on the list?
There wasn't as much sort of information. I didn't talk to.
Dedham was more of we didn't really change anything. I think I was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, they didn't give any data, we didn't really see anything different.
Sure, okay.
Right. So I think, we're still kind of in the early talks on this. I don't think we should necessarily go to the select board, make a decision off of just talking about it now, but I think that with their help and others, I think I can put together some evidence, make a case, put together some kind of material to show that this is how it might work. This is how it's worked in other places.
I think one metric that I think would mean a lot to me, and I think would make a case, is if you looked at the actual incidence and severity of injury. And that's all in the crash database. Because if you're showing that a reduction of speed does reduce the type of injury or the severity of the injury, because that's really what we're doing this entire thing for, is so that, someone gets injured, they don't get killed.
Yeah.
And in those towns that have done that, are we seeing a pre and post severity of injury reduction? I think that's probably one of the most powerful metrics that we could bring. I don't care how many speeding tickets there are, I don't, you know what I mean, that doesn't matter. I think it's really important, John, if you're still here to pursue the, you know, you brought up a very good point on the, if speed could be incorporated, or if it is in our bylaws, whether that's something that we could rely rather than, you know, when your officers are writing tickets, that they're writing tickets against a bylaw rather than, an MGL 90, which is gonna hit the guy, you know, hit people at $3,000, $4,000 of surcharges for driving 30 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
Justin. Oh, sorry.
yes.
No, I gave it some thought after too. Like we're not a heavy, like if you look at the NPD statistics, like we don't write a lot of money tickets anyway. So I'm thinking regardless of the speed, so let's say we do a 25, and if even a portion of the population, to what you were saying, abides by it, like when our officers are interacting with the public, we can push the education model, and then you say, you know, now the conversation, I guess I was thinking, is it shifts from, okay, well, it's not 30, now it's 25, and now people think, hey, you were doing 35 in a 25. That's that, just hearing it sounds different. Like, oh, you're doing 35 and a 30, people are not going to care. But saying, hey, you were doing 35 and a 25, I think it will repetitively push the message, and that's what I'm wondering will be echoed by like Dedham and some of the officers I'm finding out. I'm thinking that their enforcement hasn't changed, but maybe people's perception of it has.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to, because you brought up that, because that's the one thing that, you know, your department will have to deal with, you know, enforcing something. You're gonna get a lot of gripe from people who have now $3,000, you know.
No, and
You know.
if we go both, that would be phenomenal.
Right, and that's just, I wanna look into that to see, just from that, it would give your officers more discretion and to really uphold the educational model, which I think at the end, that's really what's going to make a difference. If someone's gonna speed, they're still gonna speed.
Yeah.
But it's getting the honest to actually speed a little slower, so they drive 30 miles an hour down Webster instead of 35 to 38 right now, you know what I mean? So, because it would, and I think as we also collect the data, I think we also need to know we do need to find out what areas are considered thickly settled and what areas are not. Because there are areas of Charles River that would still be considered 40. There are, you know, because it's only affecting what is considered thickly settled, the 200 feet between, you know, structures, et cetera. So I think a map of the area so that so the officers know what areas are covered, and then, you know, so.
I think there needs to be a plan, because, so we need the data and we need to know the streets. I think we also need to know speeds on this, like definitively what the average speeds are on the streets that we know are our greatest concerns. Because as a town, I think we'll need the data to be able to demonstrate the before and the after, whenever we do it, so. Knowing what we're looking at for the before, I think it's super interesting and telling that when you're reaching out to these towns, they're not giving you numbers, they're saying, we did stuff. They're not telling you, we should have that data, because the data is what will.
So I think one of the reasons why that's the case is because conducting a speed study, like, on nearly the entire town's road network.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying pick a selection, pick a representative selection. Of the roads that we think would probably be the most affected by this kind of a change.
Because if you're looking at Webster, you're looking at certain, you know, you're looking at sections of one of Highland Ave speed zone, you know, basically some of our larger arteries, Brookline Street, whatever, but having some data to suggest this is what cars are doing now, then you know, if we do the townwide reduction, then we do repeat those speeds. That's, you know, to say, oh, this is that, so we can make an evidence-based decision rather than a politically pressured decision, which I think some of the towns that have done that did make decisions based on,
Yes.
So,
So,
oh, these studies have said this, so we'll do it.
yeah, so I guess I meant it from the other direction, like, I didn't mean that it couldn't be done on our side. I guess I meant that a lot of these other towns, they did not necessarily plan to conduct a comprehensive before and after. Should we do it differently? Probably, yeah, sure, but they might not, so like in the case of that study that I showed you, or that I mentioned, that was conducted by a third party to measure the effect of the law. It wasn't like Boston did their own, like, so it would almost be like they would like commission the study to be done.
I think we have some of the equipment, you may, if you want to buy some more of the radar speed signs, we have some of the funding to do that, so that we can pick 10 streets that we think is gonna be, you know, because we don't want to do anything to truly overburden. We want to have some good data points to then go back to the community when in fact they say, why am I slower now to go from, you know, point A to point B? You know, is this really, because we have a community that wants data-driven decision. I think that we're a higher maintenance community than maybe some of the others. And we want to be able to bring the citizens and say, this is a decision that we did based in data and based on safety, and we have the data to prove that it worked. Or it's really having a minimal effect, and maybe in the future, you can say, okay, no, we'll go back to the way it was, and be like Wellesley going, you know, 35, 40 miles.
Yeah, so I think and that's kind of on the implementation side of the plan. I think if we were to go in that direction, we might want to consider commissioning a third party, because I think that it wouldn't be, you know, it's sort of the major streets, 1 or 2 observation periods. It wouldn't be big money, but I think that our capacity it would be hard to do it in a systematic and consistent.
And that's fine, I support, you know, going or somebody that we have a current relationship with, and, you know,
Yeah.
having and giving the scope and all of that. Yes, I'm in favor of that. You know.
Yeah, because we still need to perform our, you know, our day-to-day, like, as we've been doing, right? We don't want to be like, oh, we can't do any speed studies for the next year.
So that's the implementation. So I think that as part of the implementation, we come to a plan with the select board, if we in fact are going to do this. And say,
Yeah.
this is what our recommendation is based on these factors. This is some of the evidence. This is a very high level implementation plan, because we're still going to need to implement it. But nonetheless, you know, and get their support. And either that or say, we'll come back to you in 3 months with an actual plan, but do we have is this the right general direction? Would you support this?
Yeah,
You know, we also need to know what the appetite is. Select board, I think they would. I think 4-1. But,
I also think we'd have, like, we would have to involve the mobility committee in some capacity too.
I know a couple people. But
I also, the other thing is, I think that's really critical in this, which we talked about last time, is the communication plan. I don't think just our town channels are enough. So I think we would need to involve the communication director for the town, but also would be something that we might need to outsource for part of it. Because when we implement, because in
Yeah.
order for this to become effective, I think communication is more critical than, I mean, I think a lot of it, to be honest, and I just don't think part of it is, I think a lot of the bordering towns didn't do that. And I think that's probably part of the reason they see it, and as I've said, I've driven through these towns and have had no idea that those are their speed limits. So I
Yeah.
think between signage, you know, signage at various points in the town, and then also just communication to the community is critical, and neighboring communities.
And well, I mean, that we could have a summit at the town hall, you know, there's a whole variety of things that we have, that we've done kind of some iterations in the past. Should we get this decision to go forward with this? I agree 100%. We need to manage that, at least need to, you know, do road shows and, you know, have awareness campaigns. We need to push it. And even when we enact it, there's gonna be a break-in period that, you know, it's gonna be an education piece. And I know, Lieutenant talked about that before with 4-way stop, but we've been, you know, implementing that so agreed 100% that we do need to do that. I just want to see where we all are in terms of our thoughts going forward with this. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah, so-
generally supportive.
Yeah, like, I think you're right in that we need to kind of take the temperature first, and then sort of build the case. You know, all those things agreed as to how the implementation part would work, but you still need to do the pre-work.
And I'd be more than willing to go with Karis and Brock, select board or whatever you,
Yeah.
to gauge their support.
Yeah, like, one of the things that I just saw, just like cursorily looking through is that other communities have done like a sort of mini campaign, like where they actually like made some yard signs that said like 25, like, you know, and over 25 or something.
Right.
And they just kind of put those around to get people to generally be aware of what's going on, like what people are trying to make a change. So it would be something like that. I think that works. So just, you know, we'll pursue more information and continue to kind of probe to see what the leadership thinks.
Perfect. Excellent. And let's see, so unless there was any.
Sorry, what's the process for probing to see what the leadership thinks? You do that? Do they do that? Who does that?
I mean, we could have a discussion of whether, you know, it's gonna be you and Karis, that are gonna, you know, officially, or with having informal conversations. I can have informal conversations with any of them anytime.
I think the four of us like can kind of, you know, the Karis obviously has the town manager's ear.
Mhm.
And the town manager has select board's ear, but I know you also have some connections as well, so. Yeah, I don't think it'll be. Like, I think they'll be in favor. I think they'll just want us to do our homework, which is, we're gonna do it.
Sure, agreed. Okay, any other comments, concerns?
No.
And is there anything else from old business?
I think that is all.
Perfect. So I have two very quick issues because we don't have Ally here, but two, and I've spoken about this at Tyler before. Stop sign at High Rock and South. He's gonna pull it up. The stop sign, the only thing that's there because of the unfortunate geometry of that intersection. The stop sign is about 15 feet before the intersection and it just dumps into, and I'm trying to figure out what we can do to improve that, of whether we do a stop sign, a second stop sign on the left, which kind of be wedged right in against the person's fence there. Yeah.
I think, yeah, Bob and I were talking about this, like.
Or like a
I'm
stop.
not
ahead.
sure, yeah, this, the stuff on the left might. And people think that is like actually a one-way. Can we have it put it across the road? If we have any room, we're gonna check the room.
Got it.
Next to the driveway.
Because you'll see the stop line, just to kind of show, people that
Yeah.
aren't aware, the stop line is about 10 feet in front of that.
We don't have a stop ahead. We don't have,
There's no stop ahead sign. So I think that's the low hanging fruit is a stop ahead sign,
yeah.
Yeah.
which is related to the other item. And then obviously continue to look at what we can do to improve that. Conversely, I think that we need to put some signage on the other side of that approach, where drivers are coming to that fork. Some sort of road profile splitting. You know what I mean? Like, because that's really what it is. It's, you're coming down
From Chestnut,
from
From Dedham Avenue.
from Dedham Avenue, come this way.
Dedham Avenue, correct. You know, there's no road profile sign that says, yes.
I'm just gonna attest from personal experience. What I do there, when I'm going down from Dedham Avenue toward Chestnut on South,
Yes,
I hit a blinker. To signal the people on High Rock that I'm actually going
Yes.
left.
oh, okay,
Or,
okay.
but
Right,
straight.
right, instead of,
Turning right, I'm not turning right,
Yep,
because I'm just being cautious.
so, you know,
No, with those big use your blinker.
use your blanket, right, exactly.
I'm running out of blinker fluid. But
So-
anyways, move on.
I don't think this formally needs to, but I think just kind of having this discussion that some sort of improvements need to be done in that area. And if you need it, do you need a vote on something?
Can you,
So we're-
can you move closer to the intersection so we can, or is it decided? Is there a room for a stop sign right across, or is it going?
Go up one more, Tyler, please. I thought there was one more X.
I mean,
Go up to one more
it's
X.
like South should have a stop. sign.
One more X. Okay, there we go. Now, next to where that looks like a rock is next to the driveway,
This,
could we place, a sign there for stop across
Yes.
from
Just like we do at
At-
the other end,
Yeah.
by Central.
by Central, right?
Yes. I think that would be something that at least would,
that's way too far back.
Yeah, maybe even, yeah.
I think moving that's. Yeah, stop sign ahead, turning the stop sign into stop sign ahead, and then moving the stop sign up to where it belongs.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, yeah. Do you think that gives us enough?
Yeah, I think,
That's a
I mean,
warning.
just check on that, it may need to be pulled back a little bit.
I think it might have, I think it has to go back about
there's
100
a
feet
certain
or so.
distance that
Yeah.
needs to-
Yeah, 75 to 100 feet, I think.
Right, but
Rebecca
like,
would be better,
that's fine,
just
great, no, that's, yes,
advance.
I rely on you for the expertise for sure, but.
That's not a bad idea.
So if you notify ahead, stop sign ahead, and then put the stop sign where it belongs. That makes sense. The only question I have is, should south heading where that truck is, but the opposite direction, should there be a stop sign there?
Which way?
This direction.
You're making a
Right,
three-way
so,
stop,
so if you're going this way on south,
so you're coming from, yes, okay, coming from the right there.
right, so is south, do you keep south as a flow through, or do you? Stop the traffic there and
Where we
make,
should- Where the truck is?
but on the other side, going the other way.
Coming from Chestnut.
From Chestnut, stop?
Yes, coming from Chestnut toward Webster, yes. No,
I don't think
That
they
idea.
needed the warrants, yeah. You're making Bob nervous.
No,
I I'm
I'm
just,
not,
So it's good because this is a primary right of way, like this is like.
the way the geometry is, I would probably say no, but. I have to look into the volume,
I think a ton of people
I don't
turn
know.
right on High Rock, I think we should.
oh,
look
they
at volume.
do, they do.
So because that's what the determinant would be, right? Like, are most people, because I think most people go right on High Rock, don't use their blinker, and when they're going left onto south, they do.
Can we just do counts on High Rock on this area? But we didn't do it on South.
Right. we
I
did
always
further
use my blinker there, coming from Dedham, every single time.
But you
almost.
you use it whether you're going right or left.
Right,
Yeah, no, I agree. I use it if I'm going left. I don't use it as much if I'm going right, but I do, because I see cars stopped there.
Right.
I do just as a courtesy to be like.
that's
you
exactly
can
what
get
I
out.
do.
Yeah,
I see more people get confused, like the way you're saying. It doesn't happen often, very small amount of drivers, but they tend to start stopping before they, intersect with High Rock.
Yeah.
Coming from Chestnut Street.
I mean, maybe just moving the stop sign is enough to start and we see how it is,
And-
but
and I think adding a stop sign across the street, I think we've done
And
that.
the advance,
The
put the advance in.
Correct, advancing and then,
Yeah.
the stop sign across the street, and then if you wanted to move that stop sign, like.
I think that's good too,
Or just,
that's
you know,
all fine.
That's, okay. all right.
wait, can I ask another
I
question?
think we should
Yeah.
talk to the people, make sure that we don't put it in their way of the driveway.
That was-
Uh,
This,
Behind the trees,
Yeah.
if you push it enough, hopefully that it gets out of their way of the sight visibility coming out of their driveway, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
You can move a little, doesn't have to be right at the
Yeah, yeah.
pavement,
But
you
if
know,
you move it up, maybe that's enough. No?
Wanna move it up first and see how we,
I would,
and scope out an area for.
I would do the warning and move it up first.
Those rocks are,
Can I ask another can you move back, Tyler, a little bit? So
Okay.
for us, no, back, like, so we're, our view, yeah. So is it possible also to make that opening more narrow? So that people, yeah, so
Yellow goes, follows the alignment.
yes, yeah, so that either that the yellow follows the alignment. Or, because I'm guessing most people are going this way, right? Most people aren't taking the hard right onto South from there unless you live there. That would have made sense.
yeah,
So most people are going this way.
Right.
So the other question is, do we use paint to bring this in a little bit so that your stop sign is, so that you're essentially coming here? So rather than having this, do you know what I'm saying?
Cause you're essentially having two different points
Right.
of intersection.
So what I'm saying is like,
the double yellow center line.
Does this, because it looks, does this kind of come to here and this come in a little bit? So can we make this, because this doesn't need to be this wide, so can we paint this here? So it's a little bit more of a stronger left onto south or right onto High Rock, and rather than like a easing in every direction. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it
Just-
also has the effect, previously to some extent, is that it also puts the vehicle on a more 90-degree.
Right.
Yeah.
Angle.
Right.
To the
Right.
cross, to the.
Right.
Spruce
Right.
Street, and makes it, be more inclined to look left and right.
Sort of similar to the top of the Warren Harris thing that's going on now with that new island that's there, because then your next step could be to put an island there potentially, but the new island at the end of Warren is amazing.
Like
It's amazing. Ever like, it's
Yeah.
it's completely confusing.
It's, it used to be that. What?
What?
Is that not red line? Is that?
Yeah, in the center of,
That's from people driving
Warren,
on the
right?
yellow.
across from Harris.
And tracking.
Yeah, so it forces a right or a left. It's excellent. I mean,
Right between these
It's-
tracks.
whatever.
Yeah.
So how about this?
Everyone else will,
We can
but,
even
but
paint
it,
it.
Yes,
We can
Justin.
even paint it.
So how
They can do
about,
it.
do you think by September you could come up with some sort of illustration of an improvement?
Okay, all right,
I
yeah.
know, I'm.
So
asking
if we
something.
did that
No,
though,
no,
if we did that though, then wouldn't we want the stop sign over there?
yeah, well,
Yes,
right,
but
that
there is
might,
now, if you're doing this, there is. Room here, the driveway here, there's room along here, talk to this guy, but there's room along here to do.
Like,
a
is
stop
it-
sign here and a stop sign there, kind of,
Yeah, rather than out there, right?
right. And then you can do this with either, you can, in order for you to keep this lane here, you essentially create a second double line and hash it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you did over down at the end of, like, outside of, the engineering golden, you know, 'cause there is that kind of, and then the same, you know, the fog line is, you know, comes out like this and you wanna hatch that.
So
but-
landscape vehicles can still make that turn without going over the line, yeah.
Yeah, cause, and you still wanna be able to, you don't wanna then increase, you don't wanna make it a highway coming from Chestnut now, just going
Yeah, I know,
down.
yeah,
Cause
that's-
people won't understand that that's another road, you know, as opposed
Yeah.
to a continuous, so then nobody will be using the blinker to go onto High Rock, you know, so it's, I think by
yeah.
creating that spacing, you're not actually increasing that roadway, but you're decreasing the roadway and forcing them just, you know, to the 90-degree turn either way. And then you stop across the street and stop at the.
I like that idea. I think, it'll kind of control the movements better.
Yes,
a little better, right,
and then I think by that you have something like, it'll be an opposite of a W-110
on South Street.
Yeah.
on South Street as you approach that intersection, so people understand
Yeah,
there's an
that's
actual,
Yeah. That would solve a lot of problems, I think.
so.
Great.
If we get for a design, that'd be great. We have one other item, which is that, I think this is a really quick one, so I thought this was quick too, but at the end of Nahoyden Street, I think at the end of Nahoyden is. There's no advancing stop ahead sign, and then I think no one sees the sign the way it is because. It's so far on the right that people are looking to the left. To see oncoming traffic and they treat it as a yield sign. I'm sure
Yes.
John can attest that
They
no one
do.
actually stops. there.
They-
Well, I
they
shouldn't say
do.
no one, but there's a lot of people that just kind of roll through that stop.
Yeah,
I think we-
that's a barrel.
So I think a stop ahead sign just before the where that road divides.
Well,
And then having a second stop sign on the left-hand side, because that is a one-way there, so I think you can do a stop sign on the left-hand side as well.
This
That's
is getting
great.
super weird.
Well.
yeah, you're up, there you are. Oh,
Justin,
What?
Gus is,
Okay, I'm just wondering about the
Questioning here.
stop ahead. I think if you put the stop sign on the left side. Given that it is a one-way street in the way, will take care of it, you don't probably need you need that stop ahead sign. Because this, keep going, yes.
I'm just
So
saying.
you can't see
You
it right
can't see it,
there,
'cause
you can
it's
see the one going left, you
Yeah.
can't see the
Keep
one going
where
right.
that- Keep going where that car is now.
Yeah.
Keep going.
This way?
Where is the stop sign?
Right,
Right.
Yeah, she wishes.
Right, could you put it on the left?
Yeah, so you'd have to keep the one on the right, just by
Yeah.
regulation, and then you put one on the other side.
Such a terrible spot.
I would say, I mean, I Gus's point, I mean, we can discuss this and your point that, I'm just saying, because you're coming down to Hoyden. You don't see it, just having a stop ahead sign. But if we wanna start out with just doing the stop sign on the left-hand side, I think that's also.
I agree. I think I would also pull the stop sign further this way. It's way past the stop line.
Put the stop sign right on that one way, where that one way thing is.
No, I don't think you can, isn't it that you have to put a stop sign?
On the sign by itself, on a post by itself.
Because otherwise you can't recognize the shape.
Right, but it's on their lawn right now, so can't you just take it off and move it?
Oh,
further
no,
up on
that's a
their-
different issue.
Yeah.
We're talking about the sign on. the
Yeah, they were
Oh,
talking about
okay.
putting it on this pole, but,
Gotcha.
You can't
that-
put
and that's
it back to back.
but I don't know, moving this sign to where?
Right, I was saying more, it
Oh,
seems
to
to
do
me
not.
that
Yeah.
sign should be, the sign on the right should be pulled back.
Yeah, you probably don't.
It's
And
too
is it
fu-
somebody's driveway there? Is
You're
that
like
the-
already.
Is that a loop driveway? Is that why
Yes,
it's?
it is,
Okay.
yes. You're already in, you're literally,
Oh.
so the far stop sign is at the other end of your driveway.
Where it should be back.
It's at the other end of their driveway and you're already on Central by the time you stop at that
Here.
stop sign.
And then put one over here,
That's literally on Central.
Yes.
do this, and then add this.
Does that work?
Okay.
I'm waiting for Bob to finish his drawing.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Move the sign that's way down in the corner, back to where the stop bar is roughly. And then opposite that sign. Put a new stop sign here, like here.
In front of the do not
Yeah.
enter.
Yeah, move this one up. And then add this one.
I think you had-
Now, whether you add,
You go there, go in the field and make sure you can locate it.
Well, won't this obscure the sign behind it?
No, no, he is saying that separated, you have to separate the two signs.
Yeah, different posts.
Back.
Yeah, different posts. I'm just saying that even if they were on two different posts, wouldn't it obscure depending on how close they are. I guess if it's like,
well, the other one is, 20 feet away or something. From the stop bar, so if you move it a little bit further ahead. 5-6 feet, so.
the weird thing is like, what is that one way even, who is that, who is that communicating to? Cause you can't see it from Central. Cause there's already a do not enter perpendicular to that sign, so what is the one way really?
The driveway is. The only one that sees it.
But even the driveway is to your right, so it's like, well, I guess it's for people pulling out of the driveway.
I mean, we have it on, we have a lot of one-way signs on a road with the dog park.
Yep, 5
So,
feet.
Right, and just to remind people when they're drunk or delivery truck drivers.
No one should be drunk and driving. Ever. I have a
Okay.
20 I have a
I'm
20
gonna go to
son
work
right now.
with Derek and
It's terrible.
locating.
It's terrible that when they can start drinking and they can drive, it's the,
Yeah, that one should be a relatively
like-
simple one.
The only thing is on the grass. I'm not sure where the property line is. That you're showing it on the other side of the sidewalk.
Is this something we can add for the September, come up with just a concept of, or a sign? Or if honestly, if it's something that you guys can work out.
yeah, I mean,
In between,
it's an
it's-
existing
I
stop
think it
sign,
needs
so
to
that
have-
should.
Right,
be
there's already
implemented,
regulations
yeah.
out there.
There's no regulation changes,
Yeah.
it's just making.
We can just make it-
visibility-
We
Right.
can check
Right.
with the surveyors on the
So we should do
location of the property line right over there. I think we did a survey a few years ago.
Yeah, if the property line goes right to the back of sidewalk, then we'll have to. No, negotiate that.
But it's really important, the one on the left, because I also think that, as you're approaching, you're not looking forward, you're looking backwards. You're
Right.
looking and so you don't even see the stop sign, but anyways,
By the time people start slowing down, they're like already onto the turn, so they just go through.
correct, that's why
I
the
think
stop,
what-
that's
I
why the
think
stop
that-
ahead might
I
also
think
help
that's
as well.
exactly.
So the reason why that stop sign may be that far into Central Avenue is because Central Avenue is rock layout.
There's a lot of
It
ways.
it may be a matter of not placing the sign on private property.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
all right.
the way.
No, if it is, then just paste on the left-hand side, leave the sign where it is if you can't move it because of private property issues.
And put the one on the
And on
left,
the
and
left, I
I
think
put the,
it's-
still put the,
And then the warning, I
Yeah.
think, would be an appropriate fix if you can't move that stop sign due to property line issues. And you guys can do that whenever, that's an existing thing, there's no regulation change, et cetera, no need for a vote. And then the last item that we have, unless Tyler, do you have anything else on that?
No.
I didn't want to, sure. The last item we had is a vice chair and chair position elections. I announced out before, if anyone had any willingness to be either chair or vice chair, they can certainly put themselves out for nomination, or we'll be open to have anyone nominate anyone else.
I would be happy to be vice chair. To nominate, to put myself forth as a candidate for vice chair,
I would support that.
and I would like to support you as the candidate for chair.
I would have to have someone else ask for
Can
support.
we do that?
You would have to ask somebody else what.
Well, if you're gonna nominate, you have to have a second, and I don't want to second myself.
Okay,
So,
well, no one seconded me.
So,
that's
so-
not fair. Thank you.
You're right. And so I think the only objection to my nomination would be my wife. So she doesn't have a vote
She's not here.
on this committee. She has a
She's
vote
not
everywhere in my life. But nonetheless,
I'm
so-
happy, but I'm happy to help in certain areas that,
no, that would be good, especially with the bandwidth for, there's a couple of meetings, with that conflict of planning board because of the whole, housing thing that I'm gonna do. So, I know at least one. So I then would, accept the nomination for chair. You said you would accept the nomination.
I would accept the nomination for, yes.
So, we will come to two votes, one vote for, the position for vice chair for Rebecca Tarantino. It's been seconded. Any discussion on the matter? No discussion. We come to a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. And we record the aye from Lieutenant. Any opposed or any abstentions? Hearing none, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then there is the nomination of myself to be another year of chair of the Transportation Safety Committee. It's been seconded. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, we come to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Committee vote. Thank you. Perfect. So the motion passes.
Great.
Perfect.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
And seconded by Tyler, and any discussion on the matter? No
No.
discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank
opposed?
you.
Abstentions? Perfect. Thank you very much, Lieutenant.
No problem. Sorry I couldn't be there.
No worries. We are adjourned,
Okay, Don.
8:16.